The series begins in Russia in 2140, when women have taken over the world and transformed it into an ultramodern society. They no longer live in densely populated cities, but rather in the countryside, where every family owns a villa. In fact, the technology is so advanced that an AI housekeeper handles everything. They take their owner's temperature, cook them food, play shows based on their mood, and even design new clothes for them. Because men are no longer the dominant species, things like hatred, violence, and wars have been eradicated, and women's average life expectancy has risen to 150. Lisa, a 50-year-old woman who works as a history teacher at a nearby school, is the film's protagonist. As she watches the news one morning, she notices a woman protesting about a pressing issue. She believes that all women should be able to reproduce naturally with men rather than through artificial insemination. Lisa simply scoffs at the news and goes about her business. After a while, she goes to work, and we get a quick overview of the society, which is heavily reliant on technology, kindness, and discipline. There are food stalls near the roads where women can get free meals. Video calling is as simple as a click of a finger, and there are fines for minor offenses such as putting garbage in the wrong trash can. The penalty for such offenses is a loss of social points, which are also used as currency in this world. Furthermore, if someone is obedient and does their job well, they are rewarded with free social points. Lisa soon arrives at her workplace, a futuristic shuttle that houses a few students. Without wasting any time, she begins the class with a video presentation about the history of mankind. It demonstrates that men have dominated society since the dawn of time. But it only brought hatred and violence. Decades passed, but nothing changed. In fact, the world was sinking deeper into problems such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, and so on. Then, in 2030, a lethal conflict between the United States and North Korea altered everything. Pyongyang scientists created a virus that would wipe out all men in the US military. The virus, however, quickly spread to other parts of the world, decimating 99% of the male population. As the video progresses, it becomes clear that after the women took over, they gradually began undoing the damage done by men. Global warming began to slow, pollution levels began to fall, animal populations began to increase, and the earth began to improve as a whole. Finally, the video mentions that the birth of boys, i.e. primates, has become extremely rare, and those who survive are relocated to a rundown part of town where technology is still primitive. We learn here that the male population is regarded as apes, they have little intelligence, are filthy, and are always after two things, intercourse and violence. After the presentation, Lisa takes the girls to the outskirts of the colony, where they can see the men's quarters. Cities have been turned into slums since the fall of man. Following that, we are taken to a nearby slum, where a group of primates live. Their lives are very simple because they use very little technology and etiquettes. We can even see some females there, most likely rebels who were unable to adapt to the futuristic society. Among the men is Gara, a normal-looking guy who is a virgin. All he wants is to get laid, but he is also very helpful and considerate of others. There is also a masculine brute named Baron who serves as the slum's leader. He is fed up with matriarchal society and wishes to start an uprising. In one of his speeches, he mentions the slum's 100-year history. Men were treated as animals and even used as livestock several decades ago, after women took over the world. But one day, Baron's brave grandfather escaped their society and came to the city, where he began constructing the slums from the ground up. He even brought some women with him so that they could reproduce. Lisa arrives with her students as everyone is paying close attention to the speech. It turns out that she had taken them on a field trip to see the primates, or to see a zoo. The men are outraged to see themselves being treated like animals, as expected. When Lisa and a student named Maria arrive at a restricted area, Gara approaches them and tries to hide them. He also unexpectedly kisses Lisa in the heat of the moment. Taken aback, she quickly blows a whistle, confusing Gara, but also attracting the attention of other men, who arrive and apprehend the girls. Soon after, Baron organizes a slapping competition. The winner is allowed to procreate with the women. Gara decides to participate out of concern for their safety, but he is pitted against a giant. Fortunately, when the giant swings his hand violently, Gara ducks down, knocking out the nearby Baron. The women seize the opportunity and flee to their shuttle, while Gara rushes to his grandfather's house. In the following scene, a shuttle bus stops at a routine checkpoint to pick up some batteries. Surprisingly, Gara emerges from one of the battery barrels after it resumes movement. This surprises the shuttle's owner, Julius, who is also a man. Julius is revealed to be a seed keeper, whose sole purpose is to release sperm and impregnate women. Only male seed keepers are given the same privileges and respect as their female counterparts. Julius, who has never had a friend outside of work, finds Gara interesting and allows him to stay. Julius drinks the primate's special booze called moonshine after they talk for a while. Unfortunately for him, he becomes so inebriated that he jumps out of the moving shuttle bus. Gara devises a strategy with the Baron's men hot on his tail. He dons Julius' spare costume and poses as the new seed keeper. After a while, the shuttle arrives at a colony called Two Hills, and an invisible barrier opens to let the seed keeper in. Gara gets down nervously, and a beautiful woman on a bicycle gives him a tour of the city. Several women greet him enthusiastically along the way. Lisa is also present, but she fails to notice Gara. Gara takes an oath at night by biting the holy apple in front of live TV, promising to have healthy and intelligent children. Then he is taken to his chamber to rest, but as a virgin, Gara insists on starting work right away. As a result, a worker leads him inside the reproduction chamber, where a middle-aged obese woman named Berta greets Gara, much to his chagrin. After that, he is told to sit, and a pipe is attached to his mahood, which begins milking it profusely. Gara is initially hesitant to proceed with the process, but after seeing visions of Lisa, he eventually calms down. Surprisingly, Lisa, on the other hand, has been unable to shake Gara from her mind and is constantly thinking about him. Gara is introduced to the reproduction base, where seed keepers like him are cared for by beautiful women the next morning. The boys are pampered all day, fed delicious meals, and massaged to keep them fit and happy. Gara becomes aroused by all the girls around him and heads to the bathroom to perform a hand relief. When he does so, however, an alarm goes off in the base. It turns out that hand relief is illegal in Two Hills colony. To make matters worse, thinking about intercourse is also illegal, and the one who has such feelings is called Homo sapien sexual. Lisa and her family, which includes her mother, Paulina, and grandmother, Anya, are at the local court. It turns out that the previous student, Maria, told authorities that she was briefly apprehended by the primates. As a result, she and Lisa are tried in court to determine their guilt. Lisa, who is nervous, tells her best friend Tanya that she was kissed by a primate, but Tanya tells her to be confident because no one will know. Soon after, the trial begins, and Maria's mother, Vivian, a high-ranking councilwoman in the colony, tries to pin all of the blame on Lisa. Lisa, on the other hand, does not keep quiet and reveals that they went to the slums at Maria's request. She even shows video footage from her AI that backs up her claims. Lisa is about to prove her innocence when her evil best friend Tanya ratted her out and tells everyone that she was kissed by a primate. Everyone is shocked when they hear this, and the judge sentences Lisa to 80 hours of community service, while Tanya receives 20 social points for her honesty. Julius also ends up in the slums, where he is approached by Gara's grandfather. The old man agrees to assist him, but only if he keeps his identity hidden. Gara has no choice but to agree. Later, he is led to Baron, who is drinking at a local bar. Julius attempts to start on a positive note, but Baron mocks him by twisting his finger. Julius gets a haircut the same day to make him look more presentable. Soon after, a lady, clearly smitten by his good looks, approaches him to treat his finger. Unfortunately, Baron notices and becomes envious. He then directs one of his bodyguards, the Giant, to confront and protect the outsider. The Giant agrees without hesitation and challenges Julius to a slap fight. Later, the fight preparations are completed, and the entire community has gathered to witness the event. The fight soon begins, with the Giant going first. He slaps Julius with all his might and knocks him down, but the latter gets right back up, much to everyone's surprise. He then unleashes a lethal right hand, knocking the Giant out cold. Berta, on the other hand, takes all of the seed keepers for a walk. Gara grows tired of all the rules that they must strictly adhere to during the journey. For example, if a seed keeper wants to fart, he must first ask permission and then enter a fart capsule. After some time, the group comes across a statue that appears to be of Greta Thunberg. It turns out she is revered as a goddess in this land. While everyone else is praying, Gara gathers a few of his co-workers and encourages them to have some fun. 3 of the guys agree, and they set off to the nearby sea to catch fish. There, the guys notice Gara has unshaved legs, which is forbidden inside Two Hills. They also discover that he possesses a lighter, which is considered a dangerous weapon. Instead of being suspicious, the guys admire Gara's rebellious nature and regard him as a role model. The group catches some fish and enjoys the evening until a nearby fire alarm goes off and blows their cover. As a result, they are sentenced to a full-day tour of the educational center. The following morning, while Garrett is getting one of his regular massages, his caretaker is abruptly replaced, and the new one is revealed to be none other than Lisa. She was sent to the reproduction base as a punishment, it turns out. Garrett and Lisa are both surprised to see each other, but neither of them says anything. Later, the 4 seed keepers who had previously broken the community's protocols are taken to the education center. There, they are brainwashed with a series of presentations that prove women are the superior race and that men should be dominated. The presentations also promote other illegal societal cliches, such as having or contemplating intercourse. Lisa and her grandmother, Anya, are also present during the tour. Garrett is watched from a distance by both of them, who laugh at his clumsiness. Anya, who is a bit old-fashioned and dislikes the latest rules, finds him adorable. She also instructs her granddaughter to keep his identity hidden. Garrett gathers his fellow seed keepers in the evening, after the group has returned home, and explains that, contrary to what they learned today, having erotic desires is completely normal. This enrages one of the guys to the point where he confronts Lisa and asks her to undress. But, before things get too out of hand, Garrett steps in and sends the man away, saving Lisa for the second time. Instead of thanking him, Lisa gives him 30 minutes to flee or she will expose his cover to the authorities. Meanwhile, Julius has developed a small fan base in the slums. Enraged that an outsider is attempting to usurp his power, Baron orders some of his men to execute Julius, including his right-hand man, Rat. Following the plan, the group, along with Julius, goes to an abandoned department store to scavenge supplies. Surprisingly, Julius excels at his job and is able to extract some valuable food items. The group is even more impressed when Julius single-handedly defeats an enemy group known as the Squirrels, who believe that alcohol is the root of all evil. As a result, they choose to spare his life and return him to the slums. However, it is revealed that the councilwoman, Vivian, is not a saint after all. She is seen having an intimate moment with the slum's leader, Baron. The next morning, Vivian compares photos of the new batch of seed keepers and discovers that the real Julius is missing. She also learns from Baron's information from their encounter last night that the imposter is a primate who has escaped from the slums. Without further ado, she directs her assistant to broadcast an emergency alert throughout the colony. Meanwhile, a terrified Garrett attempts to flee the scene, but is stopped by the invisible barrier. He has no choice but to sneak back inside the colony. As the emergency sirens sound, he notices Lisa and begs her for assistance. Lisa, as expected, wants nothing to do with him, but when Garrett reminds her of the times he has come to her aid, she agrees. As cops begin to swarm the area, Lisa flees with Garrett. Unfortunately, Tanya, her ex-best friend, catches them in the act while they are fleeing. Back in the slums, when Baron arrives at the bar for a drink, he is surprised to see Julius alive. He rages at his men, demanding to know why they didn't execute him, to which his right-hand man, Rat, responds that Julius is a kind man who saved their lives. As the heated debate continues, Julius steps forward and demands democracy. He claims that all residents of the area are entitled to equal opportunity and that their voices should be heard. All of the patrons in the bar begin chanting for him, leaving Baron with no choice but to hold a friendly meeting. Later, the two meet in Baron's personal quarters to discuss their differences. Julius wants all people to have free will, whereas Baron wants to oppress them indefinitely. But, in the end, the two agree on an election, the winner of which will be the slum leader. After Julius has left, a concerned Baron summons Rat to his room and orders him to participate in the election as well. He believes that if 3 men compete, the votes will be divided and Julius' chances of winning will be reduced. The voting ceremony begins at night, and all slum residents cast their votes one by one. When the results are announced, Baron receives only 1 vote, but Rat, to everyone's surprise, wins the election with 18 votes to Julius' 16. Despite the fact that he is an outsider, it appears that most people still do not trust him. With nowhere else to go, Lisa brings Garrett to her house, where her grandmother, Anya, attempts to think of a way to help him escape. Unfortunately, Vivian's assistant arrives at the door to inspect before she can devise a strategy. Anya quickly locks Garrett, Lisa, and a pet cat inside the closet before letting her in. It is revealed here that keeping animals in captivity, even as pets, is illegal in 2 Hills. Soon after, Vivian's assistant enters the house and begins searching for the fugitives. She reveals that Tanya witnessed a primate, aka Garrett, fleeing with Lisa. She then presses Anya to hand over the criminals, but she refuses and claims she hasn't seen them. Shortly afterwards, the assistant is about to leave when the cat sneezes inside the closet, blowing their cover. But, before she can tell Vivian, Anya smacks her in the head and knocks her out. With time running out, Anya pulls out a motorcycle and instructs Gara to ride it, as a projectile traveling at more than 80 km per hour can only penetrate the invisible barrier. She also tells Lisa to flee from him because she, too, has become a wanted criminal in the colony. Obeying the order, the two begin their journey, and Gara accelerates the motorcycle past the 80 km per hour mark. Fortunately, the strategy works, and the two are able to break through the invisible barrier. The impact disintegrates the motorcycle and tears their clothes apart, but luckily they had brought some extra clothes with them. Lisa is now forced to follow Gara because she has nowhere else to go. At night, they build a fire and sleep together. Gara catches a squirrel and cooks it for breakfast the next morning. Unfortunately, Lisa, who has spent her entire life eating vegetables and shrubs, is terrified of the sight of a cooked animal. Lisa screams, attracting the attention of a few nearby men. Lisa and Gara flee after being spotted by two men wielding a crossbow and firing arrows at them. They attempt to flee but are foiled when Lisa trips up a broken tree and injures her leg. Unfortunately, the two are apprehended by the men and taken back to Baron's slums. Following this, Baron attempts to approach Lisa but is stopped by Gara. At the same time, other men in the room insist that they, too, be given the opportunity to be with Lisa because Baron is no longer in charge and the place is democratic. Rat steps in and tells everyone that those who are interested must compete in a slap competition to determine their fate, to which everyone agrees. Meanwhile, Vivian, the councilwoman, holds a meeting and declares that because Anya kept a primate hidden inside her house, she is sentenced to a punishment known as 0 for 10 days and 9 nights. On the other hand, Lisa's mother, Paulina, the cultural advisor of Two Hills, is punished for striking a law enforcement officer and is fired. Later that night, Lisa has dinner with the slum people and asks Julius why he dislikes returning to the colony. Julius responds that he dislikes returning to the colony because he is enjoying his time in the slums because he is able to experience freedom. At that point, one of the slum members declares that, given Julius' inability to slap, they will fight for Lisa over a card game. Hearing this, Lisa becomes enraged and declares that she should be the one to decide who she wants to be with and that they have no right to oppress her. In the following scene, Gara offers to show Lisa around a new apartment, but she declines, much to his chagrin. She prefers to return to the Two Hills. Gara's grandfather informs her that there will be no shipment for 2 weeks. Hearing this, Lisa reluctantly requests a separate room where no one will disturb her and where she can spend the next 2 weeks in silence. Meanwhile, Baron contacts Vivian but lies to her about not being able to contact her fugitives. Later, Gara approaches Julius and asks him to pay Lisa a visit and tell her about the slums, and he agrees. Julius soon arrives at Lisa's new home and begins telling her that she should consider staying. However, she informs him that they do not have the same privileges in the slums as they do in Two Hills. Hearing this, Julius changes his mind and suggests they flee after everyone has gone to bed. He also says that when he gets to Two Hills, he will demand that the women forgive Lisa. Outside, Rat summons everyone and entices them to vote for a new slum constitution without reading it aloud to them. The constitution secretly states that the power of slums will be transferred to Baron after 2 weeks. Everyone, unknowingly, votes in its favor. Later that night, Julius pays Lisa a visit and offers her a drink while the others sleep. He tries to force her to have intercourse with him when she begins to feel dizzy. Lisa objects to his request and flees after kicking him hard in the balls. Gara soon arrives in the room and discovers Julius crying on the ground. Einsteinerupplodov. He approaches her and assures her that he is not interested in having sexual relations with her unless she expresses an interest. Gara then offers her chicken legs prepared by his grandfather, which she surprisingly enjoys. Lisa, to his good fortune, agrees to have sexual relations with him if it provides more pleasure than eating the chicken legs. Gara confirms the condition and suggests that they begin by kissing each other. Unfortunately, while they are attempting to do so, Paulina arrives with 2 other security women and orders them to obey her. The scene then shifts to Gara and Lisa, who are sitting inside a traveling machine with Paulina and others, discussing how they should present themselves to Vivian. At that moment, one of the security guards shoots Gara with a tranquilizer gun, putting him to sleep. Paulina visits Vivian after arriving in Two Hills and asks her to forgive her daughter and not keep her in 0. Vivian initially refuses, but when Paulina assures her that she will bring the accused primate to town and punish him in front of the people, Paulina agrees, believing it will help her in the upcoming election. Later, all the women gather around their meeting place, and the councilwoman declares that Gara will be executed for what he did. Gara is seen tied to a chair and being injected with a special type of syringe in the following scene. Before being executed, he is asked for his last wish. Gara responds that his final wish is to say goodbye to Lisa. Lisa rushes to him and kisses him passionately when she hears this. This, however, turns out to be his vision while he is confined in a room with advanced equipment monitoring his thoughts and fantasies. Tanya, Lisa's cunning evil friend, arrives to see Lisa and shows her Gara's vision, which surprises her. She then goes to the other seed keepers and asks them to assist her in getting Gara out of the confinement region and saving him from execution. The men immediately agree to assist. Later, Lisa and the other seed keepers arrive at their central location and demand Gara's release. It's then time for Gara's second dose of execution injection. He receives the injection, and as soon as he does, Gara begins to have new visions of a modern world with zero waste. He is then transformed into a plastic bag and released into the open air to fly on his own. When the seed keepers witness this cruelty, they realize how loyal and helpful Gara was to them and demand his safety and freedom. They even go so far as to boycott seed production until their friend Gara is freed. Vivian arrives and tries in vain to convince them that Gara is a bad primate who is unfit for their civilized town. Defeated, she then asks everyone who will take responsibility for Gara if something goes wrong. Lisa moves forward and declares that she is ready to accept responsibility. She also swears on Apple to back up her claim. Paulina concurs, supporting her daughter's decision. Following that, Lisa goes to the execution chamber and leads Gara out. She then takes him to a guest house, where Gara attempts to kiss her and become intimate. Lisa, on the other hand, walks away, telling him that she is not in the mood to be involved in all of this right now. In the following scene, Gara recalls Lisa returning to him after the rejection and passionately kissing him. He also kisses her back, and the two have an enjoyable intercourse. Lisa goes to the bathroom immediately after being intimate, holding a device to please herself. Gara follows her, worried, and apologizes for not being able to satisfy her. Just then, Gara awakens from his sleep, and everything is revealed to be a dream. He then showers and becomes fascinated by the advanced technologies in his room. Later, Lisa and her mother pay a visit to Gara and tell him how much they are struggling after bringing him to town. They also inform him that they were successful in requesting a total of 300 social points for him, and that the points will be deducted each time he violates the rules. Lisa also informs him that if his points are reduced to 0, both of them will be punished. Gara, on the other hand, takes it lightly and loses 13 points for not finishing his ordered breakfast and using foul language. Lisa then takes Gara for a walk around town, where they meet Tanya. The latter suggests playing volleyball. Lisa initially refuses, but when Tanya persists, she agrees. However, the match quickly becomes fierce and physical, prompting Vivian to arrive and assess the situation. The girls simply tell her everything is fine. Paulina, on the other hand, decides to run for Mother City in the upcoming election and begins persuading people to vote for her. First, she pays a visit to the Seed Keepers group, luring them with gifts and a promise to make mating public once she gains power. In other news, the primates are facing power outages, so they go to Julius in search of a possible solution. After some thought, he storms outside in pursuit of a bee. When he arrives at a beehive later, he informs the primates that they can exchange honey for electricity. Julius collects some honey and puts it in a jar with great difficulty. He then takes the jar to Vivian's house. Surprisingly, instead of asking for electricity, he requests that she drive him back to Two Hills. The next day, Vivian talks with her assistant, Claudia, about Paulina receiving more than 5% of Two Hills' support. Vivian appears to be concerned about her growing popularity, so she devises schemes to bring her down. Paulina, on the other hand, brings Gara in front of the other girls and praises him for his generosity in order to secure her election chances. She mentions that Gara agreed to volunteer and assist in the hatching of a dead bird's eggs. At the same time, Gara receives a call instructing him to turn on the television and search for news. As soon as he does, he notices Julius complaining about how primates live. He also blames Gara for dragging him into the forest. Gara, stunned, tries but fails to defend himself. As a result, everyone leaves the area, leaving him alone and upset. Julius is warmly welcomed back to the city in the following scene after promising to look after the city until he is well. Everyone applauds his honesty, and Vivian orders Lisa to serve Julius and assist him in regaining his original strength. After that, while Lisa is massaging Julius, he reveals that everything he said earlier in the gathering was a lie and that he did it all on Vivian's orders. Hearing this, Lisa assures Julius that her mother can assist him if he remains truthful. Despite his initial reluctance, he eventually agrees. Lisa soon exits the massage room, and Guerra arrives shortly after. Julius is accused of lying to the people of Two Hills about primates and how they treated him. However, as soon as he starts yelling, his social points begin to fall, forcing him to stop. And as soon as Julius walks away, he grabs an apple and shatters it in rage. Later, when Guerra, Lisa, and Paulina return to his apartment, he is surprised to see Vivian, Claudia, and others waiting for him. They accuse Guerra of destroying an apple, which is considered an insult to their society and blasphemy. After that, the councilwoman deducts 100 social points from his wallet. Following this, Guerra is accused of visual harassment, sexism, and other offenses, which result in some additional points being deducted and the score being reduced to 0. Surprisingly, while everyone is preparing to execute Guerra, he receives a point from an unknown source, saving his life. As a result of this, all of the girls in Two Hills begin to donate him points and show their support for Guerra's volunteer act of hatching bird eggs. Following this, Vivian and the other women are forced to leave Guerra and walk out of his house. Guerra appears in the next scene, dressed brightly, approaching Lisa. He tries to woo her while also awarding her a point for her beauty. Lisa, on the other hand, yells at him and blames him for always getting her into trouble. She storms out, yelling angrily at him to keep some distance between them. Guerra later leaves the house, leaving a letter at the front door. He eventually reaches the end of Two Hills and notices a security woman guarding its perimeter. Guerra waits until hugging time arrives, then steals a device that disables the boundary barrier and walks out of Two Hills with it. When the security guard notices him doing so, she blows a high-pitched whistle, startling Guerra. Unfortunately, he is hit by an oncoming vehicle as he continues to walk away. Lisa, on the other hand, arrives at his house and discovers the letter in which he apologizes to her for causing problems and informs her that he is leaving. Vivian and Claudia talk about their chances in the upcoming election, and Baron orders his primates to attack Two Hills. Guerra, on the other hand, is being treated in the hospital. The next day, Vivian organizes a function for all the ladies, emphasizing the importance of motherhood in a woman's life. She also introduces to the public a scheme in which high school students are offered a mother loan for only 0.5%. At the same time, Lisa and Paulina are waiting for Guerra outside the hospital room, concerned about missing the function. Paulina asks her daughter if she wants to be a mother, and she says yes. Guerra recovers well and is released from the hospital in the following scene. Lisa and Paulina greet him and accompany him to the function. Guerra asks Lisa if she wants to be a mother because everyone else does. Tanya then arrives and invites them to accompany her on a tour of the function. Meanwhile, Vivian meets with Paulina and challenges her to compete in a variety of competitive games at the function. Paulina initially refuses, but when Vivian begins making fun of her, she agrees. Surprisingly, Paulina defeats Vivian in almost every game they play, infuriating the councilwoman. While roaming the function, Lisa and Tanya enter a theater-like area where a video about mating is playing. Tanya enjoys the video, but Lisa believes the girl is being tortured and walks away. Guerra approaches Lisa outside and suggests that she get pregnant naturally rather than waiting for the lottery and injecting seeds. Lisa refuses to use the primitive method because she believes it is harmful, whereas Tanya is enthusiastic about it. Tanya approaches Guerra and asks him to impregnate her. When Guerra hears this, he looks to Lisa for permission, but when she does not respond, he agrees with Tanya. Shortly afterwards, the lottery winner is announced, and everyone gathers around the main stage. Surprisingly, Lisa is chosen as the winner and given the opportunity to become a mother. Tanya grabs Guerra and takes him to her place at the same time. She tries to imitate the foreplay she learned from the videos, but Guerra doesn't seem interested in her and walks away, leaving her perplexed. Lisa, on the other hand, is grateful to everyone after winning the lottery. Guerra appears unexpectedly, and when she notices him, she stops speaking and looks at him. Lisa then refuses to take the lottery and approaches Guerra. Unfortunately, the Baron arrives with his men and drags Lisa away. They also begin looking for other beautiful women to mate with. After fulfilling Vivian's request, Baron contacts her and requests the goods she promised. Surprisingly, Vivian informs him that he knows too much and must be eliminated. Several of Vivian's security officers arrive and point their weapons at Baron. The primates, terrified, manage to flee, but Baron, who is holding Paulina at gunpoint, is surrounded by Claudia and the security officers. He walks to the mother center of Two Hills and locks himself and Paulina inside a room containing the seeds needed to become a mother. Meanwhile, Lisa and Gara have taken refuge inside a house. She tries but fails to contact Paulina. Soon after, she discovers that she and Paulina have been zeroed out and are unable to access any privileges in Two Hills. Two Hills AI refuses to recognize her and obey her commands. They learn from television that Vivian has formed an alliance with Baron and is the one who summoned the primates to attack the town. In the following scene, 3 of Baron's men kidnap Anya, Lisa's grandmother, and force her to accompany them to her home. The primates demand food as soon as they arrive, and Anya is released. She then cleverly pulls a crossbow from her drawer and points it at them, frightening them. Rather than dismissing them, she joins forces with them and incorporates them into a revolution to legalize sex in Two Hills. At the same time, Baron threatens Paulina and asks her how she can get out of the room. Paulina tries to call Lisa, but the call does not connect because she has been zeroed out. Enraged, Baron accuses Vivian of betraying him. Hearing this, Paulina approaches him and offers to take him out of the room if he tells the Supreme Mother the truth about Vivian. Baron nods in agreement without hesitation. Paulina and Baron emerge from the building, Paulina holding the box containing the seeds capsules. Claudia and her officers attempt to stop Baron, but when he breaks some of the capsules in front of them, they back up and let him escape. Gara and Lisa, on the other hand, continue to be imprisoned inside the house and begin to kiss. Larissa, the AI controller, advises them to keep their social distance, but the couple simply ignores her. Larissa, being a lady, is unable to control her emotions and, as a result, reverts to her default settings. Lisa learns about Larissa's condition and takes advantage of the opportunity to become a new member of Two Hills. She then tells Larissa to open the door and flees the house. Paulina and Baron can also be seen walking with the box of seed capsules. During their conversation, Baron informs Paulina of his agreements with Vivian and how she used him to fulfill her desires. Einstein are plotting up to get together with. At the same time, Anya and the primates break into Vivian's building and attempt to attack her. Julius arrives just in time and smacks each of the primates, saving Vivian. Vivian then summons Claudia and directs her to attack the Baron and Paulina. Claudia, accompanied by an army of security officers, arrives and begins pursuing Paulina and Baron in the following scene. Fortunately, Gara and Lisa arrive in Baron's car to save them. Enraged, Baron drags Gara outside and into his car. He then attempts to drive away, but Lisa fights him, causing the car to go off the road and become stranded in a muddy river. Finally, all of them are apprehended, and Vivian celebrates her victory by having an affair with Julius. Following that, the news reports on the seeds being destroyed. Lucius, the Seed Keeper's leader, rushes into his room and begins crying. Gara arrives and calls him out just then. Enraged, Lucius believes Gara is to blame for everything and begins attacking him. But when Gara tells him that Baron and Vivian set everything up, he comes to a halt and agrees to assist. Gara then reveals that they must exceed 80 km per hour in order to cross the boundary of Two Hills. When Lucius hears this, he gets out his bike and invites Gara to sit on it. Surprisingly, he pedals the bike at more than 80 km per hour and successfully crosses the border. Lisa, Paulina, Anya, Baron, and all other primates are also captured and zeroed out at Two Hills. They are then sentenced to clean up the trash in the Pacific Ocean. Gara and Lucius arrive in Moscow the next day and run into Gara's grandfather, who is looking at his college picture. He is surprised to see them, and Lucius is delighted to be with primates. Gara, concerned about Lisa and others, asks Lucius to contact one of the Seed Keepers and find out where they are. Gara approaches his grandfather and inquires about a possible solution to save Lisa and others after learning that they have been zeroed out and are being sent to clean the Pacific Ocean of trash. Surprisingly, Gara notices Anya in his grandfather's college photo, and the old man is relieved to learn that she is still alive. He then pulls out a 5G laptop and searches for Anya's location. Anya, Lisa, Baron, Paulina, and the captured primates are brought to an apple orchard and asked to work there in the following scene. Vivian arrives with Julius and suggests that they all obey her orders and work as slaves. Meanwhile, Gara's grandfather uses the 5G laptop to track Anya's location but is unable to find her. They soon realize they have arrived at the entrance to a dome and have no idea how to enter it. Right then, a gang known as the Squirrels arrives and forces them to flee. Claudia is contacted by the Squirrel's head, who orders her to disable the dome in order to enter the orchard. Gara and his group are surprised to see this, and they begin to plan an entry strategy. When the Squirrels arrive, Gara appears in front of them, forcing them to capture him and transport him to Katya. Katya is Vivian's best friend, and she treats Gara like a dog. She orders her men to bring Gera a mask and a chain, and she orders him to act like a dog. Later, Katya takes Gera and her other human dogs to Vivian's recreation party at the apple orchard. Gera runs into Lisa and hands her the ring that Lucius gave him to record Vivian's evil deeds so that they can show it to the people of Two Hills. Unfortunately, when Lisa enters the tent to film Vivian and Katya having fun with the dogs and other men, Julius recognizes Gera and exposes him, removing his mask. Seeing Gera, Vivian is taken aback, because she was only trying to seduce him. She tries to flee, but in the process, she tears down the curtains behind which Lisa is hiding and recording everything. Vivian then directs her men to apprehend all of them. Following this, Gera and Lisa are kidnapped, and Vivian orders her men to transport them to the Chemicals, a new location where they will never be reunited with their family. Meanwhile, Claudia examines Lisa's ring and discovers that she has successfully sent the photographs to the people of Two Hills. When she tells Vivian the same thing, she deduces that they must remove the evidence and burn down the entire orchard. She then orders them to leave Lisa alone and exits the orchard. Simultaneously, Baron successfully escapes the orchard dome and hides inside one of the trash cans. Tanya returns to Two Hills and shows the leaked pictures of Vivian and Claudia to others, claiming that the town is in the wrong hands. Surprisingly, Vivian and Claudia arrive and report the photos to be fake. Tanya becomes ready to swear on Apple that the pictures are real, while Vivian agrees to swear that the pictures are fake. Fortunately, one of the Supreme Mothers, Jadwiga Kristinovna, arrives and hands Tanya an apple. The girl immediately swears on the apple, and Vivian follows suit. Jadwiga then mentions that she will stay at Two Hills for a while to investigate whatever is going on there. In the following scene, while Gera's grandfather is teaching Lucius to fight the squirrels aggressively, Baron arrives and joins them. Anya teaches Lisa how to flirt with men and use them to their advantage at the orchard. Jadwiga and her assistants then enter Vivian's home and begin investigating, requesting all recent records. Vivian manages to destroy all of Claudia's illegally owned materials while they are investigating her in another room. Lisa tries to seduce Julius at the orchard as instructed by Anya, but when she reacts strangely, Julius takes her inside a tent. Gera is keeping an eye on everything. Inside, Lisa unbuttons her top, but Julius informs her that the situation is serious and that they will be burned alive soon. When Lisa hears this, she becomes terrified and asks for a possible solution to the problem. Julius then begins instructing the solutions, but is hit from behind by Gera. The squirrels guarding the area then enter the tent and capture them both. Fortunately, Baron and Gera's grandfather arrive and point a gun at Kostya, the leader of Squirrel's group. Kostya does not believe Baron has a bullet in his gun, so Baron shoots him in the knee to prove it. Following that, he walks towards Paulina, Gera's grandfather walks towards Anya, and Gera walks towards Lisa, all of them walking towards the woman they love. Vivian is shown taking an oath as a mother of the city elsewhere, but it all appears to be a fantasy. She is now imprisoned within the execution chamber after Jadwiga discovered all of her illegal activities. Paulina is the new mother of the city. In front of everyone, she swears an oath on an apple and promises to make Two Hills a better place for them. Unfortunately, the episode ends with Paulina announcing that the primates will be barred from entering Two Hills because they are still uneducated and impolite.